I'll put one away for you next week.
Okay.
Okay, I'll write that. How are you? Good morning. How are you keeping? A bakery, I suppose, is a meeting place. Everybody has to come from bread, no matter what nationality you are. You're always looking for bread, and people come and meet here. It's a meeting place, and I mean that the fact that we're here for 135 years, really, it is part of our inheritance in the area. You know, it's like the mountains and the rivers. Once you start mixing bread and making bread, it's a live matter, and it comes to life, and you have to let it come to life naturally in its environment with the temperatures. Will have a play. So the secret ingredient really is time. Giving it time to come in its own time, and then you have the perfect loaf. The pan loaf, the 800 gram pan loaf, which was a 2 pound loaf when I was a child, and that has survived in this area because of Barron's Bakery. It's the old traditional pan, whereas what came and replaced that was the sliced pan. You know, when it goes into its shape, when it's made first, and you have to wait for an hour or whenever, depending on the ambient temperature, for it to rise and to peak over the tin, and to see that then go into the oven, and to see another 5 minutes and the way it rises up, and then the heat kills the yeast, and it's lovely. It's full of life. Bread has life in it. It jumps back at you. And if you see good bread beside bad bread, it's very, for me, it's just, one looks dead and the other looks alive.
It used to be a hive of activity here. We had some really great nights here. Actually, I remember the ex-sergeant here, he was a Sergeant Dave O'Keefe, a great character, and he'd often be in here and he'd look around, see the place was busy, but he'd see the busy and see the place was, you know, in hand, no trouble, and he'd leave at the closing time, but he'd say, work away there and work away at your leisure. And quite often I might be here till 4 o'clock in the morning and go straight from here over to the bakery to start a batch of bread. That was the kind of life we led here during the winter months. This is one of a pair of proving bins we had. Again, master tradesman, made by a chap over in Balladiob, I can't remember his name, but Jackie insisted we go to him to have them made. Hard to get to know, quiet man, West Cork man, stern outwardly, but from the inside a humble individual. The oven was a Perkins patent steam oven which was manufactured in London and installed here in the Courtyard Bakery around 1908-1910. But unfortunately one morning it blew up on us. I was down in the shop having brought the bread down from the bakery to the shop for sale, and when I came back up I found Jackie lying in a smouldering fume-filled coal room with bricks, mortar, coal, dust. Couldn't see him, lying on the ground underneath the bricks. One of the pipes had blown up and shattered the front of the firebox and practically took Jackie completely out of it. The first batch of bread we did in the bakery, we had spent weeks on end getting the whole place together so that we could work it again. And the first batch we did, I turned around to Jackie when all the bread, or Jackie turned around to me when all the bread was in the oven, and he held up his index finger and he said to me, "Look at that finger." I said, "I'm looking at it, what's wrong with it?" He said, "Well, before the bread was moulded and went into the oven, there was a bandage on that finger." He said, "Oh, Mother of God." So we took a chance in it, and for the next, say, after the bread went out and on sale, for the next kind of 12 hours we sweated. And the following morning, my sister, who was in the business with me at the time, came to me and she said, "I found the bandage." So we breathed a sigh of relief from then on.
Okay, what do we need?
Flour.
Sultanas, sugar, yeah.
Oh, and buttermilk.
Okay. Hi, I'm Joe,
And I'm Aoife.
and today we're going to be making white soda bread.
I'm bringing bread making back to Schull.
So next we're going to add our buttermilk. So with buttermilk there's no exact measurement, it just depends on the amount of flour you use, the heat of the room, so you just want to get a nice wet mixture.
Well, at this stage you can add 50 grams of sultanas, so we're just going to knead them in next. Well, when you're kneading, you want to use this part of your hand to push through the mixture and fold back.
delicious, simply delicious. I love the flavour. The amount of sugar is just perfect. It's a beautiful Irish spotted dog.
I think this bread was easy, but I think that other breads would be more difficult.
Do you think you'd make a pair of village bakers?
I think Joe could make a good one.
You don't think you could?
Well, I don't like bread. That was...
Making bread is a beautiful way to spend your life.